You're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins, a Prospects Live podcast for everything MLB draft related. Join us as we discuss the biggest stories from college and high school baseball, bring you interviews from your favorite draft prospects, and break down live looks with Prospects Live analysis across the nation. Get ready, because you're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins.
We are back for week 2, and I think we only have one way we can describe week 2. Tyler had himself a time at the college baseball series. Tyler, how are you doing today?
It's still on a high from that, honestly.
Yeah. Content galore.
Dude, shout out Patrick Bauer, by the way. He's not here tonight, but shout out for being just an amazing partner to do that with. He did a very good job whole weekend. I tried even offering hey, if you want to post some of these clips, feel free. But he says hey, you traveled out here to do this, it's your thing, do your thing. So I figure I'd give him a shout out. He did a great job all weekend, and there's a little center field camera footage that we're getting from him sometime soon. So be on the lookout for that.
Love it. If you're listening to the podcast, that was a clip of Travis Bazzana just absolutely terrorizing a baseball and sending it into orbit. But we have to talk about probably the number one story that came out of the college baseball series. Hagen Smith, your bounce back candidate for week 2, decided to strike out 17 to 18 batters. I think that's an impressive call for a bounce back candidate after he had a rough first outing in week 1.
I don't even know where that decided to happen. I'm sitting here I just need a name. I was oh, okay, yeah, Hagen Smith. I'm going to see him this week, and cool. And then I watched the first inning. It's 99 and 2 sliders Bazzana, and I'm sitting here. It's okay, cool. So we're in for a treat tonight. I was not expecting that kind of outing. That easily the most efficient outing I've ever seen in my life. I thought this is a little bit of a throwback. I saw Bryce Jarvis throw a near perfect game against Florida State, I think the week before COVID hit. And this was coming off of, he threw a perfect game against, I think it's Cornell, 2 weeks prior. And it was one of the best stretches of baseball I've ever seen. And I thought that outing was never going to get trounced at all.
Yeah.
And then Hagen just decided to blow my socks off. And everyone else is in the building.
Yeah, I was watching some of that start and following it too on Twitter, and I was are you kidding me? When I got to 12, I was okay, he's done. Then he's 15, and then he's oh, I'll get 2 out of 3 in the next inning in the 6th, and I was you've got to be kidding me. And it's he's doing it against one of the top ranked teams in the nation, which makes it even more impressive, where you've got basically the number one hitting prospect in all of college baseball in that lineup as well, and he's making him look like he doesn't know how to hit.
Yeah, no, that, like I said, he was that first hitter that Hagen saw. It was 99 upstairs, called strike. And then he hit him with the slide piece. I think it was 86 or 87. That just, he didn't see it. I hate to say it. I don't think he ever saw it, to be honest with you. And then he came back and just dotted a slider on the outside corner. I'm where the hell has this been from Hagen Smith for 3 years?
Remember we talked to earlier in the year, the velocity increases for Hagen, if that was going to stick throughout the season. Yeah, it seems to be sticking.
just a little bit,
And would you say he was mid 90s too late in the game?
Oh yeah, no, it was 97, 99 first inning, and then from innings 2 to 5, it was just 95, 97.
That's nuts. What blew my mind is you said that 15 Ks alone came on the slider.
Yes.
That's nuts.
The only 2 strikeouts that came on the fastball were in the first inning.
That's wild. He's just living on it, knows it's eating, and just
dude, the tunneling traits that you can see it in the video. It comes out of the same tunnel, same release point. He's repeating his mechanics perfectly, which is something that he struggled with for years.
Yeah.
Just watching that footage again, 59 to 78 pitches for strikes. That's nearly 76% clip of strikes.
That's insane.
And he did that in 6 innings. Here's the funny thing. I actually heard a rumor that said Dave Horn wanted to pull him after the 5th.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted to pull him after the 5th because of pitch count. And that's why he got pulled in 6. Here's the first at bat. Yeah, that's perfectly dotted slider on the corner. There's the high heater.
releases your video with a 17Ks. If you want to watch this, it's on Tyler's Twitter. And if you want to watch it even more in-depth breakdown on the YouTube, all 17 strikeouts, the entire performance, 7-minute long video. You got to check it out. Just some incredible stuff.
Yeah. Also, shout out Pitching Ninja, by the way, for also posting this. If anybody wants to know how to give out credit, by the way, that's how you give out credit. He put video courtesy of with the handle in the video and then did it in the description. Shout out Rob. He's an awesome guy. So very happy that he was able to put that back out there. But like, yeah,
it's just so much watching. There's a lot of swings too, but there's guys just watching it.
Dude, there was one in here. It was a back foot slider that just came out of hell.
Yeah,
I think it was like the 5th K, and it was just diabolical.
That's nasty. Every guy doesn't know what to do. Is this Bazzana right here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the 3rd strikeout, by the way, for Bazzana. Like
insane.
And here's the thing too. Like, this is a guy that I watched walk 6 guys in 3 innings at collegiate back in July. This was definitely something I did not expect. Even though, I put him as my bounce back candidate, but no. First 15 outs were all strikeouts. And the out that wasn't a strikeout was an amazing diving play from Peyton Holt. Like, you can see it in the film when you watch the full 7-minute video. You can see Hagen just standing there watching the play unfold. He's just standing there looking, and as soon as the play is made, he just puts his hands up in the air. Like, it was amazing to just watch all that.
That's incredible. I'm just really glad that Oregon State won that game. They almost blew it.
No. Arkansas won that game.
Sorry, I got it backwards. Yeah. Oregon State almost came and won that game.
They tied it. In the 8th inning. It was off of Mason Guerra, 2-run bomb. It was like 113, 446 feet, and that video's out there. He knew it right off the bat. That was an instant classic. That was one of my favorite games I've ever witnessed. And then the game after the following night, I think it was Oklahoma State, Arkansas, just as good. 14 innings. We didn't see all of it. I'll admit, you could probably hear it in my voice. I haven't felt good all week.
Yeah.
So we kind of left early. I think it was like top 9 after we watched Carson Bench strike out against a lefty. We were like, I don't think there's going to be a way that they come back and win this. And then they did. But we missed Gabe Gackle, touch 99, a true freshman from California. Like, Gabe Davis, we saw the first inning of. He was electric out of the pen. Like, it was just an all-around great weekend to really get down. And then Bazzana on Sunday was just I don't know if I had the words to really describe how good of a day that was, and I only saw half of it.
There's 3 words. Those are words straight from Tyler.
Yes, that is true. That was me saying, "Oh my God," in the background, because I'm sitting there like that thing was just fucking pissed on.
Yeah, I saw the exit velos from his weekend get tweeted out. I don't know if you tweeted that out or I think it was some from D1 Baseball. But everything was like 110, 111, 110, 111. It was nuts.
It was all but one ball was over 100 miles an hour. Like, it was I think the first ground out he had on Sunday was 108.9, and then the home run was 110.9. And then he followed it up with another home run at like 111 or like 110 or something. And then another double at like 106 or 107. Like, ridiculous. And that's also following like the game before he had his highest ever exit velo, 112.5 on a single. And then following him getting abused by Hagen Smith, he had a jam shot 105 single. And I'm like, this kid's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like the talent on the field. Like, everything I read about and listen to, the work ethic he has off the field and the kind of human being and person he is, like, I saw one clip about like what he cared about most was like playing for Team Australia in the future and like putting Australia on the map. Like, it's bigger than just him. And that's what I love about his attitude that he brings to the field. Like, it's not just about him. He's putting in the work and the effort for everybody around him and for like growing the game completely.
Oh, yeah. No, and he's a great leader, too. There's multiple occasions this weekend where he grabbed all the infielders, had them at third base pre-inning, and was just, like, hyping them up, trying to be that team leader, team captain. Like, this is the kind of guy that's really mature. And the thing was, he may not have even played this year if draft rules didn't change. Like
Yeah.
he would have been draft eligible as a sophomore if they didn't push the deadline to August 1st. So
Yeah.
thank you, MLB.
Yeah. I do want to go over one story because I think he got kind of overlooked, and I think we should break down some of his footage right now. Aidan May and his start against Hagen Smith. Just think that he, like you had mentioned, that he looked great, and then no one really was paying attention because Hagen Smith was just electric.
Yeah, and like I wasn't really expecting much coming into this. I knew May had an electric slider. I was not expecting him holding 93, 96 on the sinker the entire outing. And it wasn't like he was like erratic or anything. He was on the corners, like pitching very quickly, up tempo. Like you can see it in the film here. It's a little tough to kind of sync everything up with the way it is up tempo. But even then, like I think only one walk, had 6 strikeouts. The slider, I think might be a 70. Honestly, like there's a couple in here that you'll see them. They just take an illegal left turn.
Yeah, even that last one was pretty nasty.
I think this next one's
Oof.
That's on the corner.
Yeah.
I think this one's also very good. Yep.
It just dies out to the outside.
It was ridiculous. And like there's a good cutter in there as well. So it was like 88, 90. And then he was dropping in a really good, I think that was the changeup right there. Like a 88 to 90 mile an hour, like split change, I think is what me and Patrick decided it was. Yeah. The only unfortunate thing was it did get away from him a little bit. It's a little tough to control that kind of stuff when he's moving so erratically. Like sweepers getting 15 inches of horizontal. I think sinker was getting a good amount of horizontal as well. The unfortunate thing was he did have to leave in the fifth inning from we think it's an elbow discomfort or forearm discomfort is what I heard. I'm hoping it's something long term because this is a guy that could easily be a top 3 round pick this year, just based off what I saw on Friday.
Yeah, it was impressive. I was watching him too, but everybody was so infatuated with Hagen Smith. I felt like no one was talking about Aidan May and what he was doing. Because, like, you think about it, Oregon State was in that game completely, regardless of getting just offensively shut out.
Oh, yeah. No, like, Arkansas wasn't getting the run support that you would expect from a lineup that's that deep. Wahid Aloy was not really the greatest hitter this weekend. I don't think he had a hit. He was striking out. He's really aggressive. I kind of have some questions about this Arkansas lineup offensively. The pitching's legit. I don't think there's anybody that's going to tell you that they're not the deepest staff in the nation.
Yeah. When you talked about Aidan May's injury, we should probably talk about a couple other injuries. We mentioned this on the last podcast about JJ Wetherholt being pulled due to an injury. Found out that it was a hamstring injury. It sounds like it's believed to be a grade 1 hamstring strain, and I think opposite of the hamstring that he was dealing with an injury in last year. So hopefully it won't be too long term. Hope that it's just will sideline him at least just this weekend. Do you have any thoughts on that and like JJ's draft stock?
What was that last part of the question?
Oh, any thoughts on that in JJ's draft stock?
Oh, I thought you said something. I thought you said Drake May for a second. I was like, since when we start turning to football here, Jared? I thought you hated football. No, it's a good thing it's the opposite leg because, like I said last week, if it was the same one as chronic, that's a bit of a red flag. But to know that it's a different one. It's a grade 1. It's not like it's a long-term thing. I'm hoping either this weekend or next. They're probably going to play it cautious with him. I mean, he's the best hitter in the country for my money. I say that as Travis Bazzana went off this weekend, but like just in terms of like pure contact, pure power, I think it's Wetherholt just slightly over Bazzana.
Yeah.
But I mean, take it easy with him. I don't think it really affects his draft stock too much. He was still having a good season up to that point over the first weekend. So we'll see. If he's not really back to hitting as much as he was last year in the Big 12 in conference play, okay, then I can see the drop off coming, but right now I think it's still too early to tell.
Yeah. The other injury that there was also in the Big 12, Tyson Neighbors out of KState. This one kind of hurt. He's out 3 to 4 months. Sorry, 3 to 4 weeks within a strained oblique. We had him on the podcast. Like, incredible dude. 3+ pitch mix, just absolutely nasty out of the bullpen. Probably the best reliever in the nation. Sucks to see him going out for almost a month.
Yeah, those oblique strains are nothing to mess
No.
around with. Never a thing to mess around with, and it sucks. Kansas State, I think, has the pitching to kind of get around that a little bit. Bo Rama's been really good out of the starting role, but not having that kind of firepower in your bullpen is really going to hurt.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be a tough one for K-State. Hopefully they can get around it. Hopefully Neighbors is back out there soon. Got to talk about some other big pitching performances that obviously got overlooked because of Hagen Smith. We're going to just say that all podcast long. We got to look at Luke Holman for LSU. Absolutely cruised against Northern Illinois. And overall, his last 2 starts, he's gone 12 1/3 innings, only 5 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, and 18 Ks. I know Thatcher Hurd's been the Friday night guy for this team, but it seems like Luke Holman's going to step in there real quick and become the Friday ace for the LSU.
Yeah, and I think even this week they put Gage jumping that Thursday role. And I think that was just to get him innings. Like, this is a guy that didn't pitch last year and really hasn't had a ton to kind of work with. Like, I don't think he really threw all that much in the fall.
And Thatcher struggled again on Friday.
Yeah, like, I think the command's really going to be Thatcher's thorn in his side, really. It's a big bugaboo. I don't think he has a really good changeup either. We've always talked about the spin. Both breaking balls have insane spin rates. But he doesn't have the polish that Luke Holman has. Luke Holman is probably one of the more polished righties in college right now. The big bending curveball, really like the fastball. I think the slider is probably the best secondary, personally. Yeah. It's like 81-85 with like hard sweep. This is looking exactly like you would expect it. And I think another thing too, when you talk about LSU and their pitching, Nate Yeske's not the same kind of person that Wes Johnson was.
Yeah,
I think there's some questions there. They're pretty evident in the pitching staff, but what you're seeing with Holman is just a completely different animal, and I think he's going to be the best arm to come out of that pitching staff this year.
Yeah, and while you picked Hagen Smith as your bounce back candidate, I think Thatcher Hurd was mine. So I went in complete 180 direction to you in terms of my bounce back candidate. Not all of us can be perfect like Tyler.
Yeah, sorry. Just for the record, I know the Mega Millions is up at like 600 million. I don't know any lottery numbers right now, so don't come asking questions about that, please, because I don't know them.
Well, we're gonna ask. You got dealt the best hand this last weekend. We believe in you again.
Oh, you're actually going to put me on the spot again?
No, not at all. Well,
Okay,
actually,
cool.
We're probably going to make you pick a bounce back candidate because why not? We'll do that in the On the Clock segment. That'll be my 5th question.
Okay,
Perfect.
yeah, cool. I was about to say, I knew you were looking for one earlier. I guess we just answer that.
The other bounce back that we had this weekend was Derek Vartanian. Campbell went 6 innings, struck out 11, 92-95, I think, in the first outing, you said, but got kind of lit up a little bit. Didn't pitch very well, but he came out, spun a really, really good game against Ohio University, helped the Campbells get ranked in the top 25 after they swept Ohio. So good to see for him. What are your expectations for Vartanian the rest of the year?
I'm hoping for the same thing. You mentioned 92-95. That was just the first inning. He was like 89-91 from the second onward against UCSB. I think the biggest question we had was how well can he command the secondaries? That was the biggest thing I talked to a couple of scouts about a couple of days after that outing. We're like, the fastball, he's going to throw strikes with. There's no question about it. He's got the athleticism to do it. It's just a matter of, can he land a slider for strikes? Can he land a split for strikes? Can he pitch off the secondaries as well as he can off the fastball? He didn't show at the first start. I haven't really watched the second start yet. And yes, it's Ohio. It's not UCSB. But seeing that kind of bounce back is pretty impressive. And if it continues, he'll be back to where he was before. But as of right now, I'd like to see a little bit more of that kind of performance. Let's see how he does next week against, I think, Xavier is what they have next week. So yeah, I do want to see more of that. Show me, like I said, the command of the secondaries. Please show me that. But so far, that's a great way to bounce back after a really rough outing to start your collegiate career at the NCAA level.
Yeah, gotta love it. Last guy we had to talk about, Trey Yesavage from ECU, absolutely dominated number 15 North Carolina. Even though they still lost. UNC still pulled off the win, I believe. I think Harris Uden was at that game from Prospects Live. Got some video that when we have the college baseball roundup post next tomorrow, hopefully you'll have to get to check out some of that video. But again, 6 innings, 11 Ks, 1 earned run. He was just an animal on the mound. This stuff looked absolutely incredible and fantastic. A guy that I think will probably go up our ranks a little bit at some point.
Yep. Now, and here's the funny thing. I do have some buddies at ECU. I had a buddy ask me, it's like, so what was the idea of like, do you regret not going to see Yesavage in Chapel Hill while you're in Texas to see Hagen? And I think I texted him in the middle of the 5th inning when Hagen had like 13 strikeouts. And I was like, Hagen Smith has struck out just about every single batter tonight. I think I made the right choice.
Yeah.
But like Yesavage, I love. I made the comp a couple weeks ago on Twitter to, I think Mikey Analytics is his name. Really good dude, works with the Villanova team. It's kind of like Hurston Waldrop-esque. It's not as refined as what Hurston has with his secondaries. The fastball is pretty similar in terms of like it's got the nasty cut at the end, but he's got more carry to it. But the secondaries, like the curveball from the high slot, slider coming from that same area, and then of course the splitter. The splitter is something that I thought was really impressive. I don't know how well the fastball really plays for Yesavage to the next level. We talked about it with Mikey. Extension is not great. And that's kind of something you look for with the fastball is how well is the extension with the carry that he has. But I think with Yesavage, this is a guy that you could place in the first round. And he could rise up the ranks pretty quickly. I don't know if you think he's a reliever. I think he's a starter at next level. But I feel like if you have him as a reliever, that's someone that's going to rise up pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, for you, your options were Hagen Smith versus Travis Bazzana or go see Yesavage versus Vance Honeycutt. Both pretty good options. I don't think you couldn't make a wrong choice, but you absolutely made the right choice.
Yeah, I think I did. Which sucks because that UNC ECU matchup every single year, like year in year out, is one of the best things in the country.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know or have lived under a rock, the Greenville crowd is one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed in my life.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about it. I've always said, like, the ACC kind of is lackluster in terms of fan appearance. And then there's ECU, who's a mid-major, well, technically mid-major.
Yeah.
And they're selling out every single, like, game. They're the rowdiest crew I've met this far east. Like, to be honest with you, I don't think there's some SEC teams that do not come anywhere close to what Greenville puts up.
I saw them. I saw everything that they were doing during the regionals and like super regionals last year. I think it was insane.
God, yes,
electric.
The best thing was I've spent time in the jungle out there, and that's what they call the outfield crowd. Those guys are the rowdiest group of people I've ever met, and they are all fantastic.
I love it.
Very, very good dudes. Like I remember it was Gavin Williams against Maryland or something like that. And I was stuck in the outfield. I couldn't get passes to get in there. And like they were all super respectful too. Like I left my camera on the physical outfield wall. They were like, "Hey, there's a ball coming your way. Move the camera." Or like, "Hey, can we help you out with this, this, and this?" I'm like, "Dude, I love these people.
Like these are my people."
Yeah, absolutely. And the fun fact, I actually got accepted to ECU coming out of high school at general admission. I did not get into the program I wanted, so I opted not to go. But ECU does have a special place in my heart, so go Pirates.
Love it. I think the two things we got to talk about before we go on the clock. It's a couple upsets. We had Stony Brook beat number 2 LSU. I think that was the Thatcher Hurd game, I believe. Yes. Yeah. And then we had UNCG upset number 1 ranked Wake Forest during a midweek game.
That UNCG team has really turned around. This is a team that was not good last year.
Yeah.
Not good. I think Jacob Kozart's brother Craig is now at UNCG. He's I think leading the nation in home runs now. I think he's up to like 5 already. That family, by the way, insanely talented.
Yeah.
Insanely talented. There's another one on the way, Sam Kozart, who I think he's the pitcher in the family, but I think he was committed to Mississippi State for a little bit, and I don't think he's committed to them anymore. but he's 2025 eligible out of high school. So
It's like the Susak family. Yeah, Andrew
yes.
Susak, Daniel Susak, and then when I was at Nevada, we had the one brother, Matt Susak, was on the team. Didn't play because of injuries, but
the McLean brothers too.
Yeah,
Matt McLean, Sean McLean, Nick McLean. That's who it is. Not Sean. There might be a Sean in there. I don't know.
Yeah. The other team I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I'm kind of curious to get your take on this team. They took 2 out of 3 against Stanford this weekend, Penn State. They got Adam Sekri that came over from Wake Forest. Interesting team. Don't know if you have any thoughts there, but interesting that they're 5-2 to start the season. They had a weird loss to Monmouth, and then they lost the third game to Stanford. But kind of seeing a team like that, and then the struggles that Stanford are having to get the season kicked off, just weird to watch.
Yeah, no, I think it's Cesiri, I think is the name.
Cesiri, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That Penn State program is weird. First off, I did not expect them to get Mike Gambino from Boston College.
Yeah.
The way that Gambino was talking at the ACC tournament last year was he's not leaving Boston College whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, he's revamped the entire athletic department, I think. The new ballpark they have is pretty cool from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But like seeing him go into Penn State was definitely a wake up call for me because I wasn't really expecting it. Like, I think that was really like an undercover steal that nobody saw coming. And they're, like you said, they're 5-2 now. They beat Stanford at Stanford, which is not an easy thing to do.
No.
This is a team that's made 3 straight Omaha appearances and is now like 1-6 to start the year.
Yeah, not great. Them and Louisville just hanging out there struggling together.
Louisville, I felt was going to happen.
Yeah.
Stanford was not one I thought that was going to happen, honestly. That's not a shot to Louisville, by the way. They were not good last year, and I did not have high expectations for them this year, unfortunately. That's just the way of the game. Stanford, you come off 3 straight Omaha appearances, and here we are, like 2 weeks into the season, you're 1-6. That's not great. And they got some arms, dude. Like Matt Scott, Joey Volchko are really, really good. Volchko was up to 99 with a slider at 92 this weekend. And like Matt Scott's throwing high rise fastballs at like 95 plus too. Like,
yeah,
it's interesting.
And they started off with a tough schedule. I mean, they're 3-5 now. But they lost 2 or 3 to Cal State Fullerton. They lost to UNLV, and they lost 2 or 3 to Penn State. That's not great. I mean, UNLV is like a decent program sometimes, but they're never top tier in the Mountain West Conference.
Absolutely. And then I don't know. Penn State's definitely a tough one to grasp. I don't know that team very well off the top of my head. But Gambino's a really, really good head coach. He's really turned that program around, and I think he's going to continue doing that. This is a team that I think could be a sleeper to make the NCAA tournament, and maybe even make a deep run. Honestly, I could see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is Stanford won today against powerhouse San Jose State. So they're back on the winning.
Hey, I think San Jose State was in regionals last year. So
were they really?
I believe they were.
Oh, they were the bottom feeders of the Mountain West when I was there for years.
Let me double check on that. I could be thinking of something else.
I'd be shocked if San Jose State was there. But maybe they're.
No, they won their conference tournament last year. They played as the 4 seed in the Stanford Regional.
That team was in last place almost. Them and New Mexico State were just like at the bottom of the Mountain West Conference year in and year out.
I believe it.
Yeah, hard to though. Like when it's hard to really recruit to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you get people to go there.
There's nothing wrong with New Mexico. I have cousins that live out there.
No, there's nothing. Like Albuquerque, great. But Las Cruces, it's like 7 plane flights to get there, and it's in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. It's a good time. I don't think we have anything else to talk about unless we want to touch on the Stony Brook LSU game. Stony Brook getting a win over number 2 LSU. Thatcher Hurd not pitching well. Kind of a weird schedule for LSU that weekend. They had like 2 games against Stony Brook, 2 games against Northern Illinois. Was that like intentional? Do you know?
They do that every so often. I think they did that last week too. I can't remember who exactly it was, but like I remember last year they did like Xavier and Central Connecticut State came out there. This is something they do intentionally. it just makes sense. You get some of the Nora teams down that can't play at home to start the year. I think it's something they do intentionally.
Yeah, kind of cool.
But yeah, Stony Brook 2012 PTSD. They beat LSU to make it to Omaha.
That year of 2012.
Bite me, Jared.
What a beautiful year that was. I know everybody remembers it.
Dude,
very well.
like time travel is a thing. I've been to that year. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I just hope you know that.
It's time to put you on the clock after that. First question we're going to ask, because we were in Texas, Raising Cane's, an 80 grade food place. Yes
80,
or no?
80. Easy 80. Easy 80,
no. Dude. I'm not a Raising Cane's guy. That's probably going to throw up some debate.
I don't
if anyone watches this episode. But
I don't think you appreciate well-cooked chicken all that much.
I definitely do. Love fried chicken.
I don't think you do.
I just don't like Raising Cane's.
The Raising Cane sauce is legitimately...
Cane sauce is good. The chicken, I'm not in on.
Dude, I have to go eat Lowe's Foods chicken, which, by the way, Lowe's Foods is where I work at. It's not good. Raising Cane's is like...
I will say that I did go to Raising Cane's when they put a new one in Reno, Nevada. I have to imagine like where they're from and like where they're located. Those locations are probably 100 times better than the Reno, Nevada location, who doesn't really know what they're doing.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Shout out Reno.
Yes.
Most impressive pitcher week 2. I wonder who that'll be.
Yeah, gee, I really don't know. It's a really tough one to really think about. I mean, Hagen Smith did all right. Like,
gotta go a different direction.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Hagen. There's no doubt about it. I've already said it. I like the sound of my own voice. That was the most efficient outing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I might have to go a different direction. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going Hagen Smith. Sorry, I can't. I thought about it for a second. And I was like, nah, we're just gonna keep going down the Hagen Smith route. Yes. Most impressive hitter.
Bazzana.
Yeah, I mean, you saw him in person. Can't deny.
It's funny. I think I did that AMA in the airport going into that, and I think someone mentioned is like, who's the 2 guys you're looking forward to the most, bat and a pitcher, and I straight up just said Bazzana and Hagen, and here we are.
Here we are talking about Bazzana and Hagen because they absolutely just had the time of their life over the weekend. But I was looking through hitting performances. I mean, Drew Burris is the only other guy that kind of stuck out to me over the weekend. Had 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, but he only had like 4 hits. So not as impressive, but I mean, it's hard to go against Bazzana after what he did. Just absolutely absurd.
My question here, by the way, is how do we not pay Burris last year?
I don't know. He's just absolutely terrorizing everyone.
He is going to terrorize AC pitching for the next 3 years.
Yeah,
it is going to be insane. And I wasn't the biggest Burris fan coming into the draft either. Like, I thought there was too much swing and miss to go into the profile. Power was legit. There was no doubt about it. Very strong arm. I just wasn't sold on the hit tool. I still like to see a little bit more from it now, but what we've seen just to start the year is pretty impressive.
Yeah, gotta love it. Braden Montgomery also had a good weekend, so shout out Braden. Next question is, as of now, who is your number 1 2025 draft prospect?
We talked about this before the show.
Yeah. You wouldn't tell me who it was.
Yeah, you mentioned Jace. I think it would have to be Jace at this point. There is just so much power in that bat, and there's a lot. I think he's a really hitterish kind of guy too.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to like. I think if I had to go, just looking at the first couple of college outfielders in that year's class, I think it'd have to be Jace. You can put Devin Taylor and Cam Cannarella in kind of the same bucket, interchangeable. Then Ethan Petrie. I don't think that's a diss at Petrie, by the way. He's not an outfielder.
Yeah. He's, more of a DH type?
I think he's a first baseman.
Yeah.
I have seen the man do cartwheels trying to catch a fly ball in right field. It can get pretty funny sometimes. And he's not a natural outfielder, so it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
But he's not an outfielder at the next level. He's definitely a first baseman in my eyes.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if I have one yet. I'd probably go Jace at this point just because of what he's done to start the year. That's kind of my only sample size. I do like Ethan Petrie as well, but I have to go with Jace right now just because of what he's doing. He's just absolutely mashing baseballs, and it's fun to watch.
Here I am thinking you're going to go Ethan Holiday, and you don't do that for me.
No, not going to do that. Sorry.
Wow, how dare you?
Yeah, I'm not going to join in on the Holiday hype again, even though Jackson Holiday looks fantastic.
But how can you not join the Holiday hype
after that Christmas picture with the three of them? No, I'm out.
What Christmas picture? I haven't seen this.
No, you'll have to go look it up. Have a good time.
Oh boy, I don't know if I'd really trust that at all.
Last question: bounce back candidate for week 3.
Interesting. I didn't really have time to kind of like pick one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Anybody struggle over the weekend in the college baseball series?
Carson Bench a little bit.
Yeah.
I really like him as a defender. I think he could easily play center field if he was at another Big 12 school. Has a bunch of range, good speed, really good arm. He struck out 2 in a scoreless inning on the mound too. Like it looked pretty impressive. But my biggest issue with Bench, and I talked to a scout about this, I don't think he can really shorten up his swing whatsoever. Whether that be from coaching or he just really doesn't learn off of it, which kind of sounds a little bit harsh. I just really don't know how much I could project off that if he's getting jammed every single pitch and it's just like weak fly balls to the opposite field. It's tough for me to put a first round grade on that. I think everything else really sets in. He's got good pop, but unless he changes, like he could be really shallow too. That could be another thing. But he really needs to shorten up his swing in order for me to really put like a solid first round grade on that profile. And he didn't really perform well this weekend either. I think he's definitely due for a bounce back against I think weaker competition. I don't know who they have next, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either. Guy I was gonna go with is Nick Kurtz. Went 0 for 5 against UNCG. Only got 3 hits over the weekend. He did walk 7 times against Dayton, so they didn't even.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah, but I feel like he's gonna get some more offense going. Come up in the next weekend, so he's gonna be my pick. And hope I get to be on this podcast next time talking about how great my bounce back candidate did. Apparently, we'll not have a 17 strikeout game though.
Well, will you be in person to see it?
No, I will not.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you could really say the same thing.
Well, just let me have my moment, all right?
Okay, I'll let you have your moment. That's fine.
Who you got? Are you seeing anybody this weekend upcoming?
Yeah, so as of right now, Yesavage on the docket for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just got the email the RSID about that like maybe 10 minutes before hopping on this. But yeah, I'll be at the Clark LeClaire Classic on Friday to see, I do believe it's Purdue ECU. Yesavage will be playing, get some Jenkins Cowart as well. Saturday, we've mentioned it, the Friends one-day conference is going to be going on, so I will not be at the field. But then Sunday, I'll be at NC State Towson to get some looks at like Serrano, Cozart, all those guys, and some look at the freshman arms that NC State has too, because they've got some really, really good young guns on that staff.
The only game I got this weekend is going on Sunday to see UMass versus Virginia. Got some Ethan Anderson, some Griff O'Farrell, Casey Saki. I think Jay Woolfolk is still in the rotation after he pitched well last weekend on Sunday. So I imagine he'll still get the Sunday start. So I'll get some footage of that as well. Fortunately, can't go Friday, Saturday, so going to miss those games. But see what happens. Haven't heard back from the SID yet. So if you're listening, hey, help a friend out.
Hey, Virginia SID, if you can help us out, please. Like, that'd be fantastic.
Especially with after in 2 weeks, it's going to be Wake Forest, Virginia. So would love to be out at that game.
Love
as
you,
well.
Virginia SID. Please help us out.
We will have a college baseball rundown going out tomorrow, hopefully afternoon. We'll have some of the updates that we talked about on the podcast, but you'll also have links to all the videos, the credible footage that both Tyler and Patrick got down at the college baseball series. We have some footage that'll be there from Jake Bargery from last weekend that didn't get uploaded. So we'll have links to that for you to check out. A couple live looks articles as well. You can check out the On the Clock podcast from last week where we interviewed prep prospect Griffin Burkholder, which is really good dude. So be sure to keep checking out all the amazing content we have coming out from all the analysts here at Prospects Live. Everybody's doing incredible work, and we're all just excited that baseball season's back.
Amen. Hallelujah.
So until next time, we'll see you next week.